PeaceMaker, episode 2, Friends for Never. It's your boy Icon with some DC TV. So in our last episode of PeaceMaker, we're still trying to keep the peace. And the chick that he banged in the last episode turned out to be a metahuman freak and whooped his ass to the point where he had to blow her up. So now he has to go back into her apartment to get his belongings because the police are on their way. And he obviously he doesn't want to get caught or whatever. So he calls in the troops. Like the blonde girl wakes up. She takes the black girl with her. And then the black dude, him and the big white guy, they show up and they try to scrub his fingerprints and erase everything to get him to, so the cops don't trace it back to him because, they still have that senator situation they got to take care of. So this whole scene now goes with Cena trying to get away from the cops and jumping off of rooftops and hurting himself. And, some of it was pretty funny. Some of it wasn't. Eventually we see these two police officers, this one Asian police officer and this white guy. They're the ones that basically kind of they're gonna be the cops that kind of lead this thing. They're gonna be the designated officers. What the big white dude ended up doing, he put John Cena's car, because remember, Cena blew his own car. He put the registration of the car and the fingerprints and everything. He basically threw everything on the dad. And the black guy was like, yo, that's incredibly stupid, because if we're trying to protect PeaceMaker, why would you transfer all of PeaceMaker's information from him onto his dad? That's not going to get him on board, with trying to team up with us to do what needs to be done. But then the guy was just like, oh, I panicked and I didn't know what else to do. The Asian cop and the white guy, they go down to talk to the dad, and the dad was racist as hell. He said he wasn't going to take no questions from Egg Foo Young, and he made a joke about chopsticks, and then she got mad. He was just like, unless you got a warrant or something, he was just, he's like, get off my property. So they're trying to figure out, they're trying to ID the perp. While Cena was trying to escape from the building, he went into this apartment that had a couple in it, and he tied up the couple. And when the cops showed, he tied up the couple and jumped out the window. So when the cops showed up, they actually asked that couple to come down to ID him because the cops never saw his face, but the couple saw his face so they could pick him out of the lineup. They sent the black girl down to the couple to intercept the couple and to bribe the couple into not revealing John Cena's identity. The funny part is they went for the bribe. They decided to not ID John Cena, but instead of IDing PeaceMaker, they basically lied, and both of them blamed his dad. So we're throwing everything on the dad here. So now the Asian cop comes back. They arrest the dad now because the dad got picked out of the lineup, and then they throw the dad in prison. So now the whole team is trying to figure out how PeaceMaker came in contact with a butterfly, because the mission that they're doing, it's called Project Butterfly. And they were just like, how did you even bump into one of the butterflies? And he was like, first of all, you guys never told me what a butterfly was. I don't even know what we're doing here. He's like, I don't even know the situation. I don't know the dirt. I don't know anything. And then the black cop was just like, let's just take your ass home, read the file that we told you, and then come back to work, the next day, and everything will be all good. So when he goes home, he's basically kind of upset, and he's feeling, like he kind of messed up a little bit. He didn't like the fact that, the team doesn't like him, and then he's having regrets about killing Rick Flag. He's sitting here crying, and then here comes Vigilante. And I knew from the trailer I wasn't gonna like the portrayal of Vigilante, because I remember Vigilante when he was on Arrow. He was the boyfriend of Dinah Drake, and he was a serious badass. This guy is a blithering joke. In episode 1, when they were all in the restaurant, there was this kid from across the room. He was looking at PeaceMaker, and he was waving. And then when everybody said oh, who's that? He was like, oh, there was he named some guy. He said that there's this guy that I know from the neighborhood. That's his younger brother, and his younger brother's a little special, a little emotional. That's obviously Vigilante, because he was way too excited to see PeaceMaker when he saw him in the restaurant. And when he went to the back, because he worked at the restaurant, and then he was dancing and celebrating that PeaceMaker got out of prison, one of his coworkers came outside and called him Adrian, because the Vigilante is actually supposed to be Adrian Chase. They switched it in Arrow, where they made Adrian Chase Prometheus, but Adrian Chase was supposed to be Vigilante. So the fact that they called him Adrian, I was like, okay, that's Adrian Chase. Obviously Vigilante is the little brother. So, him and Cena are talking. He's like, oh, we're best friends. He's like, no, we're not. And then they end up, getting together. They have a montage of them shooting stuff and blowing stuff up. And then the girlfriend that Cena had tied up, because remember when he was in the building, when he broke into that couple's room, he tied up the couple. the girlfriend, he ended up getting her to come to his house, and then they had a threesome with Cena, Vigilante. Well, yeah, Cena, Vigilante, and the girl ended up having a threesome. When Cena was in the apartment of the butterfly metahuman monster, he was trying to get his clothes, trying to get his helmet, his shirt, his socks. He stole some records, but he saw a mechanical device, and he ended up taking the device because the device lit up. While he was in bed with Chase and with the girl, the device he had put on the table, and then when he picked up the device just to look at it, it transformed into like something else. So now that's pretty interesting because we have no idea what that device is, where it comes from, and why it was in the same room as a metahuman, like butterfly thing. We don't know where these butterflies come from. We don't know, like, and I mean, I still feel like it's Project Cadmus and Amanda Waller and them, they created these butterflies, because every single time Amanda Waller shows up so far, and she uses the Suicide Squad, she never uses the Suicide Squad to actually do something to help the government. She always uses them to clean up some shit that she did. Like every time she makes a mistake, she uses them to clean it up. So I feel like this is another one of those situations where they try to create metahumans. Amanda Waller tried to create metahumans. It backfired, and now she needs Peacemaker to clean up her mess. And then in the final scene, it shows that the dad ended up going to prison. And then while the dad was in prison, he basically immediately got the respect of all the prisoners, and they got on their knees and they said, "All hail the white dragon." And I said, this is going to get out of control from a racial standpoint very quickly. But at the same time, I'm also interested because I didn't think his dad would actually play a part in this. Like, I didn't think his dad would have a significant role. And it almost seems like now the big bad for the season is going to be Peacemaker's dad, and it's going to be Peacemaker versus the White Dragon, like Chris versus his dad, like in the season finale, because his dad's going to have something to do with this at some point, which is also going to be nice because Cena has an issue with his dad where his dad doesn't give him the respect that he deserves. So for Peacemaker to end up possibly killing his dad in the season finale, that'll be pretty cool. And if he doesn't kill him in the season finale, he'll probably be the villain for season 2. But his dad is actually a player now. He's not just some rando, and I definitely want to see what's going on with that. Like I said before, that was it. And thank you for tuning in. So, I mean, again, the problem with the show is the show is good. I'm entertained by the show. I am enjoying the show. There is intrigue, but all the intrigue has to do with all the non-comedic stuff. It's almost like you got to get through the comedic BS to get to the actual show. And if you can just like remove all the ridiculous, unnecessary comedy, there's a good show in here somewhere. So we're going to continue to review it until we find it, damn it. So that was it. Like I said, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram. One more episode of Peacemaker to go because we got a 3-episode premiere. Hit the like button, share, and or subscribe. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when my other videos pop up for the other videos that I'm doing for the DC universe. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So until episode 3, as we continue to fight for peace, take care. And about this, bitch. Thank you.